let's reintroduce ourselves with the Washington Commanders. Because again, a lot's changed. I mean, you see there on the thumbnail, even that's a new face right there, even that we'll get into in just a minute. No, I know it looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but it's not. It's not. It's actually a new member of the Washington Commanders here. So listen, we play them twice a year. We have a good grasp, if you're a regular Giants fan, of the Commanders, what they've been the last few years. Obviously, last year was a year that this is, a totally different team, basically, you could say. They get 12 wins. They go to the NFC Championship game. Obviously, you got the star rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels, but they've definitely done some moves to build around. That's what you're going to do. When you win 12 games, you go to the NFC Championship game. You're going to add. That's an adding time. Let's add things, especially while we have a rookie deal for a quarterback. So the Commanders, what they've done is they made a couple of trades. They traded for left tackle Laremy Tunsil, who's been basically one of the best left tackles in all of football to ever wear a gas mask. Yeah. Listen, he's always going to be known for the gas mask incident. For those who don't know, when he first was coming out of college, there was a picture that posted him on social media where he was wearing a gas mask. Obviously, everybody was assuming he was using it for some kind of drugs. And he dropped. And the Dolphins got him, who eventually traded him to the Texans. Now, years later, the Texans have now traded him to the Commanders. Still just 31 years old. He's made the Pro Bowl 5 of the last 6 years. The only year he didn't make it, he played 5 games back in 2021. So, yeah, I can tell you now why he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Didn't play.
Which is an upgrade out of that squad.
It's a huge upgrade, guys. And they really didn't give up necessarily a ton as of right now. So what they gave up in that deal was a 4th rounder in the past draft that just passed. They also gave up a 3rd and 7th, though, next year. So they gave up some capital, that's for sure, to get them. 3 picks in total, but only 1 they've lost so far. So nothing that stopped them for this season as far as building. But yeah, great player. Like, listen, you want to talk about a way to stop a pass rush? Laremy Tunsil is a way to stop the pass rush. That guy's legit.
Yeah. And it's fairly cheap, per se, because you don't know, obviously,
what he gave up for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, good move overall. And again, we've talked about it all when we were actually scouting him in the draft, even. If there's one thing with Jaden Daniels, you better protect him because he's undersized. He's about 15 pounds light compared to the average NFL quarterback at 210 pounds. And that's if you believe the actual playing weight.
Yeah, which
I've tried that before. Who knows?
There might be a Reddit page on subreddit page about how light he is.
Yeah, I think he's more like 205 probably, which would put him at 20 pounds lighter. That's a big difference. That's 10% of the body weight they're gone, basically. They also traded for wide receiver Deebo Samuel, who's also obviously pretty well known in the league, played with the 49ers for many years. Last year, 15 games, 51 catches, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns, 42 rushes for 136 yards and 1 touchdown. That's 806 total yards. He's that kind of gadget receiver that you have to kind of look at total yards, not just what he did as far as receiving wise.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that they'll use him in the backfield as a running back. They'll use him like in a wildcat kind of similarity, and slot behind the line, straight down. He's the quintessential Swiss Army knife, if you will.
Yes,
but you also have to remember he came from San Francisco at the time, who had some great receiving cores, and he had some good complementary players where he had some of his best years.
And also, they had Shanahan.
A good line.
Shanahan is a good offensive mind. He doesn't know how to scheme when you're up in a Super Bowl, but overall, he is a very good offensive mind who's very good at creative and using him there. Now, here's the negatives with Deebo, and I'm not trying to be full on negative on Deebo. He's a legit player in the NFL, but he hasn't played in a full season since 2021. This is the 2025 season, guys. He hasn't gone over 1,000 total yards since that year, 2021 as well. So again, we're talking he's very much removed from the best year of him, which is that 21 where he had 1,770 total yards. That's only 30% of his career yards in one season. He's 6 years in.
Yeah.
So, and I gotta say, I think he's been kind of living off that 1 year for too long.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. If you're a fantasy player, like you drafted this guy high up, like you're looking for fool's gold. Like if you got him at 21, like you find the diamond in the rough there. But other than that, like he's not played well. Well, I'm just saying, like if you play fantasy football, you obviously see what these players' stats all around the league. So I'm just putting it out there, like he has not had that season since then, and Planet knows.
But everybody still gives him that kind of respect. He's that kind of player. Like when you have one great season, all of a sudden you're like, ooh. But he hasn't been that guy in 4 years, guys. That's a long time. Here's the crazy part. So he averages for his career 989 total yards per season. If you take that 1 year out, it drops all the way to 833. It's a big difference.
Very big difference, but it's also both are very respectable players in the NFL. Just one way more than the other.
Huh?
You said what, 900?
So 989. Oh, okay. I thought okay, you're saying both those numbers are respectable. I said both those players. We're talking about one player.
Both those numbers. Both those numbers are very respectable in the NFL. Like if you had Slade and put up 833 yards on average, you would be like, oh my God, look at how great players. And we were talking about him at 700 yards being a respectable player in the NFL. That's what I'm saying. Like, so you want to go from like saying 833 for just shy of 1,000 yards a season. Like both are very respectable players. Just,
yeah. And that's
the other.
Like Deebo's still a good player. Like, I'm not trying to knock him in that regard. I just think he's not the elite player that people give him some of the respect for because of that one season. And all they had to do, the Commanders, was give up a 5th round pick to get him. So obviously the 49ers also agreed that he wasn't the player he was back in 2021 there. That's for sure. What I thought was kind of interesting of the move overall is I feel like they got a newer version of Curtis Samuel, who they had and lost to the Bills last year. A better version of him, but almost the same player. A guy who's a receiver, is kind of a gadget player that runs the ball occasionally as well too. Like, again, better than Curtis Samuel. I'm not trying to knock him, but the same kind of player. It's kind of crazy that and he'll obviously be wide receiver 2 right behind Scary Terry there. Signed as a free agent. Von Miller, we talked about him on the show. Again, he's, I think, 15 years removed from a good season at this point in his career. Like, that's just what he is. Like, I'm trying to be rude about it. He was a great player back in the day, like Hall of Famer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, like he hasn't cracked double-digit sacks since 2018, guys. And I know sacks aren't everything, obviously. But last year, 13 games, 17 tackles, 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 8 QB hits. He's not nearly the player he once was. And again, he's 36 years old. Who the hell is at 36 years old who they were at 25 or 28? That's just life.
Yeah, I wonder if that's more of like a veteran move that would be like that veteran kind of mentor coach to the younger guys out there.
I think honestly they were trying to replace somebody who we'll get to in a minute when we talk about guys they lost, but they were trying to replace somebody, and it got down to the point where they didn't have anybody legit to replace him with. So they just got the guy who's the big name veteran guy, and like you said, hoping he'd coach up the room a little bit and hoping he'd help out in that regard. But they're definitely missing a big name pass rusher from last year, that's for sure.
Yep.
Also added Deatrich Wise, the defensive lineman last year with the Patriots, 39 tackles, 5 sacks. Javon Kinlaw, who those of y'all watch the Jets are aware of him as well. Obviously was a longtime 49er prior to that as well. 40 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss last year in all 17 games there for the Jets. Cornerback Jonathan Jones started 14 games for the Patriots last year. And Will Harris, who started 13 games for the Saints last year, had 74 tackles and 1 interception. So they've added some stuff to defense there, obviously. It's all defensive players we're talking about there.
Which was a problem for them last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically a top tier offense and an average defense, which is funny having, Dan Quinn, who's obviously well respected as a defensive mind in the NFL. Ironically, to talk about Kyle Shanahan, also though can't play from behind, can't play well from ahead in the Super Bowl. Just saying. Well, back to that.
Something they got in common.
One guy we have to mention who wasn't necessarily an off-season move, but they did add mid-year last year, and this is past us playing them the 2 times. Marshon Lattimore, the cornerback, formerly of the Saints, who also was a mentor to Paulson and Deebo. The Giants got this offseason here from the Saints as well. Played in just 9 games last year. Was a 4-time Pro Bowler, but again, has not been a Pro Bowler since 2021. Started his career literally 4 out of 5 years going to be in the Pro Bowl, and just hasn't done it since. Still a damn good player, don't get me wrong. Just he's gone from being great to very good.
Listen, very good. Still very good for in NFL. Like, it's still a long career. Like, it's still
better than anybody they've had the corner position in years in Washington.
At least half a decade.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just the truth of the matter there. So again, we'll have to see what he is at this point. There, he played the last 2 games for the Commanders, for also playing in their postseason run as well. So, he's not that he didn't come back at all last year. It's just he missed a lot of time. Speaking of missed, here's what they lost last year. This offseason, I should say. Defensive tackle Jonathan Allen, who's always obviously been with the Commanders since he got in the league. Feels like he's been in forever. Last year, 8 games, 19 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 7 QB hits. Good big time pass rusher from that defensive tackle position, but also a good run stopper as well there. It's definitely a big loss for them. Edge rusher Dante Fowler Jr., who was the big pass rusher I was mentioning, they're also missing out. Last year, 39 tackles, 10.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and 12 QB hits. And they definitely don't have a guy in this roster that replaces 10.5 sacks. Nope. De'Ami Brown, the wide receiver, also gone. 30 catches, 308 yards, and a touchdown last year. Cornerback Benjamin St-Juste was 14 game starts last year, 71 tackles, 7 passes deflected. Also, late in the offseason, during camp, actually, they cut running back Brian Robertson Jr., who I think most Giants fans remember him from last year, but he ran for 132 yards versus the Giants in that first game that they beat us in there week 2. Last year for him, 14 games, 799 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 159 receiving yards added on top of that there. So guy's been like the quintessential commander. He was that guy we talked about. He's not going to go 10 yards down the field on a run, but he's going to get you 3-4 yards every time he touches the ball, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And he's now a 49er. So you talk about fantasy owners. When Christian McCaffrey goes down again, guys, just saying.
Listen, everyone that's a fantasy owner knows that if CMC is not the first overall draft pick, he has a great year. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Think about as your RB3.
Here's what they got in the draft. Tackled Josh Conerly from Oregon in the first round. Pretty good guy. We thought more of a second round pick, but he's going to be playing at the right tackle position, obviously. Trey Amos in the second round, the corner out of Ole Miss, played for a few other schools as well. That's a good pickup there. Probably going to be, if I had to guess, they're a guy that does have a decent impact on this defense. So they've definitely improved the corner position and the secondary overall since last we've seen the Commanders there. They also added Jaylin Lane, the wide receiver, Kain Medrano, the linebacker, and Jacory Croskey-Merritt, the running back, who is a lot of people think is going to have a massive role with the Commanders this year for a guy that was picked, late day 3 at that point there. I've heard people on fantasy even picking him up, thinking he's going to be like a big player for them. Austin Eckler obviously is considered their starter, but we all know what Austin Eckler is. He's not necessarily a running back. He's more of a pass catching running back at this point in his career. So, maybe that's what happens. But
I mean, we want to go down in a fantasy thing, but I mean, 3 leagues this year and was a 12-man league, and no one that I know has picked him up. I mean, you might want to reserve him down the road as something, but Eckler is a guy that could get injured.
Yep.
But he's also a guy that, once again, kind of fits a scheme where give the ball to Jaylin Lane and let him throw it down the field.
I mean, that's what they're going for. They're going for a full passing attack offense this year at that point, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens. But that's what you got for the Commanders as far as the changes since last we've seen them. I think they've added some good pieces, but I think they've added a lot of aging pieces as well. Like the young pieces they've lost at that point there. Because, again, Dante Fowler still kind of in his prime. Just had 10.5 sacks. Jonathan Allen still kind of towards the tail end of his prime as well. They've lost some guys there, and they added people in the process. But I can't honestly sit there and say that this is a better defense with all the moves on defense than what it was, because it's all contingent on one thing: that secondary being better. And that pass rush definitely went down, which, as we all know, hurts a secondary.
Big time.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm curious to see what happens this year with them. I think they're going to take a step back personally. I think
I've been saying that.
Tape
I've
is
been saying
out
for a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. Like
tape's out. Defense is weak. Offense was a surprise coming from a defensive head of my coach. So everyone's like, oh my God, look, I'm throwing the ball down the field. No one expected that. They expected a big run game from Junior over there, and it was there, but it was kind of like the last minute audible kind of choice. Yeah. So it's I think it's going to be. I'm not saying they're not going to be good this year. I'm saying it's going to take a step back.
Surprise is
100%. Thinking about Houston Texans when they had CJ Stroud, everyone's like, look at them. They're amazing. They're going to be dominant in the AFC South for the next 10 years, blah, 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 blah. What happened last year?
Yeah. And then, they also got excited because they added a wide receiver and Stephon Diggs, who, people were.
He was also aging.
Guess what? Deebo Samuel's their Stephon Diggs then.
Yeah,
ironically enough, Laremy Tunsil was the left tackle on that team last year.
Fault.
We'll see what happens. I think the line, listen, we obviously Laremy Tunsil is a freaking stud. Josh Conerly is a good player, but he's a rookie. You never know what you're going to get out of a rookie. They still got some issues on that line. The Giants can still get through. So,
thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
If you like that clip,
then you will love the full episodes too.
Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging